Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening, everyone. Jeremy Rockcliffe has unveiled his new cabinet, with Lower House newcomers Erica Betts and Jane Howlett to become ministers. The Liberals buoyed by signing an agreement with the Jackie Lambie Network for support. But there are claims Tasmania's newest party has been fleeced.
Confident he has the Parliament's confidence, Jeremy Rockcliffe's unveiled his new cabinet.
And this new ministry reflects a strong and experienced team whose mission will be to deliver the agenda.
New MP Erica Betts will serve as Leader of the House, Minister for Transport and for Business, Industry and Resources.
Which will encompass mining, forestry and aquaculture, carry significant responsibilities that are at the centre of economic growth and job creation.
Jane Howlett returns to Cabinet, taking on the primary industries portfolio and racing. Other major changes include Felix Ellis taking on housing and Joe Palmer, education. Guy Barnett will continue as Attorney-General and Health Minister, but with support from Simon Wood as Secretary.
Acknowledging the significant and important workload that the Minister for Health, Mental Health and Wellbeing brings.
The new Cabinet will be sworn in tomorrow, with Parliament to return on May 14. He's already informed Barbara Baker he can form government once again. An agreement with the Jackie Lambie Network MPs signed today. They've agreed to vote with the government on confidence and censure motions and support them on any binding motions. They can vote against the government on legislation or other matters, but have to consult them first.
What we want is a workable Parliament, and we will get a workable Parliament, and that's what I'm keen for.
In return, the parliamentary newcomers will receive the same staffing as the Greens, plus offices and a party room. They've also secured reviews of state finances and transparency measures. But the Greens say the conditions are shockingly onerous.
And I am very concerned that they may be railroaded by the Rockcliffe government, and certainly they have very little power in this agreement to have a voice.
The Premier indicated today he's close to signing a deal with independent David O'Byrne. That would take him to 18 seats. Voted Labor leader, unopposed at the first caucus meeting, now Dean Winter needs to win over Tasmanians.
I want to reassure every Tasmanian that our main priority is jobs. Tasmanian Labor stands for not just any job, we stand for jobs that are safe, secure and well paid.
The party's policies will be reviewed, the regions and listening to Tasmanians the keys to returning Labor to its former glory.
There are 18-year-olds who weren't actually alive the last time that Labor won majority government. It has been a long time.
It's Dean's job now to change that. Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
Mona says it's disappointed and is considering its options after losing a bid to refuse men entry to its ladies' lounge. A TasCat ruling found it was guilty of direct discrimination, but the gallery argues the space is actually an ode to gender equality.
A secretive lounge for ladies, potentially no longer.
I think the ultimate value in art is to create conversation, to push the boundaries and to really kind of question the status quo.
Marilla Estate, owner of Mona, has been ordered by TasCat to allow both men and women through the drapes of its iconic green room. The space, usually reserved for those identifying as ladies, displaying paintings and precious antiquities, curated by Kirsha Cashelet, wife of David Walsh.
I was really excited that I could go in, but my husband was awfully offended when he tried to get in and he couldn't get in. But you know what? I don't think everything needs to be for both men and women.
The move came after visitor Mr Jason Lau says he wasn't happy that he was refused entry as he paid the full fee. He then filed a complaint with Equal Opportunities Tasmania, contending that he experienced direct discrimination.
I mean, this day and age, everyone sort of, should be able to go in, male or female.
It's a wonderful place to visit.
Did you go into the ladies' lounge?
I don't know that we did.
TasCat's decision has raised questions about the meaning and influence behind some artwork, extending far beyond the Mona Gallery.
I think everything has to exist within a boundary, and I think once again it's art's role in society to question those boundaries.
Mona says it will now take some time to consider its options and absorb the decision, adding it's deeply disappointed by the TasCat results. With 28 days until the deadline's up, many hope the space won't be gone for good, despite Marilla contending it would require 4 weeks to comply with an order to remove the work. Ruby Cairns, 7 Tasmania News.
The Greens have announced their candidate for the upper house seat of Elwick. Janet Shelley, who was a Clark candidate at the recent state election, will run in the vote scheduled for May 4.
I have lived experience of some of the issues that are really facing the Elwick community right now, and that's housing insecurity, cost of living, not knowing how you're going to put food on the table.
The election has shown there is a mood for change in the community and a mood to elect people who are genuine and actually fighting to make the change that's possible every day.
She's facing independents Beck Thomas and Fabiano Cangelosi and Labor candidate Tessa McLaughlin. Well, sadly tonight, all of us here at 7 Tasmania and many viewers around the country are mourning the death of 7 Network personality Nathan Templeton, who was found dead in a Geelong park after suffering a medical episode. Nathan spent many years here when he started his very bright career as sports reporter for Southern Cross 90 News back in 2006. He'd gone on to front 7's Olympic Games coverage and most recently report for Sunrise. A father of 2, Nathan was just 44. Tasmanian festival goers are being reassured Party in the Paddock will return next year, despite other events falling victim to cost pressures. But organiser Vibes Town Productions warns it will need more funding to secure the festival into the future. Next year's 4-day party will run from February 6, with early bird tickets to go on sale later this year. The rocky festival landscape has claimed a string of high-profile events, with Mona last week pulling the pin on Mona Foma. Tasmania's fire service is encouraging landowners to conduct safe fuel reduction burns this autumn, reminding landowners that permits are still required for most of the state. They're currently required for all Tasmanian municipalities except the West Coast. The fire service says permits are unlikely to be lifted until at least the end of April. Tasmanians are warned to protect themselves this winter by staying up to date with vaccinations. Despite a rise in respiratory illnesses, the state government has changed the way it tracks community health.
Leading by example, the Health Department's Deputy Secretary Dale Webster rolling up his sleeve in preparation for the cold and flu season.
Every winter we have experienced an increase in respiratory disease across Tasmania.
Members of the public strongly encouraged to boost their immunity against influenza, respiratory syncytial virus and COVID, with vaccinations offered at GPs and pharmacies statewide.
Vaccination does remain the best defence to protect against serious illness and prevents against outcomes like requiring hospitalisation and even death.
Despite recording 384 new COVID cases in the past week, Tasmanians will no longer have to report their positive RAT tests online from Friday.
We're asking Tasmanians instead to participate in flu tracking. Flu tracking is a quick online survey that's sent out each week, and that will help us monitor and track acute respiratory infections.
Those showing symptoms should stay inside, with 24-hour access to doctors available via the Care at Home program.
They should wear a mask if they're required to leave the house.
Precautionary measures to help the state's hospitals stay afloat.
We know where it is that we might be able to tweak the system to increase the number of beds, or indeed, move elective patients so that we can actually deal with emergency patients.
Brianna Boylan, 7 Tasmania News.
Small businesses in Tasmania are receiving tailored training to build their knowledge of tax and super. The Australian Taxation Office launching the online tool today. The website includes more than 20 free short courses and can be customised to a company's structure and industry.
This is actually for those that support small business as well. We want to actually teach the teachers of small business. We want to get out to associations, to industry groups.
Small businesses are the engine room of our economy. We know that they employ millions of Australians. We know that they add $500 billion to the national economy.
The resource was created in Hobart with help from small businesses. After more than a decade, the Rupert's Wood Maze at Hagley may be closing for good. This weekend will mark the end of the maze's 11th season and it won't be back next year. The Clark families say they need a break, unsure when or if they'll cut another pattern in their corn crop. It's a simple item of clothing, hoping to spark more conversations and discussions about the mental health of Tasmanians. Speak Up, Stay Chatty unveiling a pair of shorts at Princess Wharf No. 1. It comes ahead of Shorts Day. Tasmanians encouraged to brave the cold and get comfortable with the uncomfortable.
Amazing to work with this amazing team. Our theme this year is Let Your Shorts Talk. So we are saying that obviously a conversation is really important, but so is listening and being there with someone that's going through a tough time.
The impacts that we see of that awareness, even in our own organisation, is really going to the heart of helping our employees and also our members.
Taking place on June 21, the shortest day, members of the public can get involved by registering online. Well, students at Waverly Primary School are making use of a new pathway designed to regulate their emotions in a fun and interactive way. By using markings on the track, they can use problem-solving skills to navigate their way through to their classrooms.
We now have a structured way for children to enter our school for learning time.
When the idea came up with something that can help calm students and can regulate that behaviour, because it's a big challenge for teachers these days.
Costing $8,000, the Rotary Club of Tamar Sunrise contributed $5,000 to the project. Up to $10,000 of funding is on offer for individual charity organisations like Dress for Success, which is helping support young Tasmanians. The money is on offer through this year's My State Bank Foundation Grants program.
And what this program has meant is that we can actively modify the way that our programs are delivered to support Tasmanian young women, particularly, to get back into work.
Foundation comes in and provides funding for something that's a little bit unique, that's a bit more difficult to get through a more mainstream funding source.
The program has been running for 23 years, with applications for this year set to close on May 12.
When round 3 of the State Motocross Championships hits Cambridge Park this weekend, veteran rider Danny Young will be looking to solidify his place in the top 5. He'll also be drawing on support from his dad Bob, who's been racing bikes for almost half a century.
If it's a muddy day, you're trying to wash the bike between races, getting it ready. If there's something wrong, how do we get that right?
Some of the young guys are very, very fast and they've got a lot more energy, and results have been a little bit up and down this year, but yeah, I've had some good finishes and podium finishes and overalls, so yeah, pretty confident that I'll be able to go down there and have put in a good effort.
It'll be a whisper quiet race for Danny, testing out a new electric bike at the weekend's meeting. The Hobart Chargers admit they were a little underdone going into last Saturday's loss to Northwest Thunder. To get back on track, they'll need to overcome the Dandenong Rangers in Hobart, who are 2 from 2 so far. But a couple of youngsters have been showing bright sparks for Hobart.
So Archie Stewart came out and knocked down a couple of shots, pulled in 5 hard rebounds, so in just 8 minutes, as well as Brooklyn Bruton. He was given a job to defend their import, and for the time that he was on the floor, he really did a solid effort in.
The Tornadoes have a new weapon as they look for their first win. Texan Trinity Oliver comes from Ireland after doing her time in the US college system, coming into a leadership role. She hasn't had a chance to meet her teammates yet, but will hopefully take to the court on Friday against Waverly, having only just arrived in Tasmania yesterday.
I had to look it up on the map. I had to look up where Tasmania was. I had no idea. I was like Tasmanian Devil or something.
She's played at college and internationally now, and just having those 4 years at college is massive.
The Tawns kick off a doubleheader at Elphin on Friday before Northwest Thunder go for their second win.
Good evening. There were some scattered showers about the west today. The highest rainfall, 14 millimetres, that fell at Lake Margaret. Hobart and Burnie, 20. Launceston and Devonport, 21 degrees. Further out, we saw 21 recorded at Friendly Beaches, 20 for Wynyard, Low Head, St Helens and Bushy Park. Flinders Island and Maria Island, 19. King Island and Grove both 17. 16 the top 4 Strawn. 13 degrees for our friends in Lyweni. Cloudy conditions were seen about the west of the state. Scattered cloud is evident about the south, and mostly clear conditions about the Midlands, central north and the northeast. The satellite shows cloudy conditions across the Southern Ocean. Now that will continue to push over the south coasts of WA, South Australia, across Victoria and into southern Tasmania. Tomorrow, a large high will ridge across much of the country as the low over the northern Tasman Sea will move towards the South Island. Southwest to southerly winds 10 to 20 knots, easing during the morning and afternoon, tending west to southwesterly about southern waters. Southwesterly swells remaining to 4.5 metres in the west and south. Clouds spilling across the south tomorrow, Hobart and Cygnet 17, 18 the top for New Norfolk. Also partly cloudy in the north, Launceston 20, 19 the maximum for Devonport, Campbelltown 18. Becoming cloudy in Burnie 17, 17 also in Strawn with a shower or two, Smithton 19 degrees. No reprieve from partially grey skies in the east, St Helens and Fingal 18, Swansea 17 degrees. Friday, scattered showers about the west and far south with high teens and early 20s expected. Saturday, scattered showers about the west, a fine day otherwise. Sunday, scattered showers likely to continue about the west with isolated showers developing about the north during the afternoon. Here's what's happening further north tomorrow. Easing showers for Melbourne 18, sunny in Canberra, Brisbane and Darwin 22 and partly cloudy for the city of Churches with an expected top of 22 degrees. Mostly clear currently, 14 degrees in Hobart, clear also in Launceston with 17 and Devonport 17 also. That's all for the Hump Day weather report, Kim.
Okay, thanks Kai. We'll see you tomorrow.